just in case he might have to.
I'd be interested to know how much money comes into those races. I mean, if the entry fees going in are about 300 grand and the prize money is 500 grand, then it's a good investment.
Yeah.
If the entry fees are bigger than the prize money, then it's not simple as that really. It's incredibly difficult. I mean when you look at successful stables, it's all about one horse. They just get one superstar, and people think, well, that's the place to be. And actually, success is about success with all of your horses year in, year out. It's about getting your horses fitter than anybody else. It's about placing them better. It's about just looking at every single aspect of racing. To me, it's just about general success rate. It's about getting the most out of what you've got.
The Manor House method has already been successful, most notably at the Royal Ascot meeting of June 2011, where the yard had not only one but two prestigious victories with Brown Panther, a horse owned and bred by Michael Owen, and Rhythm of Light, one of Tom's protégés.
Royal Ascot was a fantastic week for the yard. We had two winners. It was Tom's first ever winner at Royal Ascot and the first ever for the yard as well, and mine, so it was a first for everyone. Brown Panther winning was a special day for me. I raced the mother. I think we've got 5 foals out of her, and he's the 4th along the line, and he's certainly the best. A lot of people say that one Ascot winner is probably the equivalent of 20 normal winners on a day-to-day basis, and it's a bit like being a footballer and scoring in the World Cup. It's better scoring 1 in the World Cup than 20 in 20 friendlies. So yeah, it was a great day for the yard. But then to go on and to get another one, it just showed that the first one was no fluke.
There is Rhythm of Light, number 4, Tom Dascombe, Richard Kingscote. By the way, Tom Dascombe is doing extremely well, once again having moved stables now, linking up with Michael Owen.
Who started slowly, but it's now Secret Love who's come through to take it up to Wrekin Sunset in second place. There's Humdrum, then 4 from the Humdrum is struggling, and it is Dubai Queen and Kieran Fallon in front, but over the far side, Richard Kingscote on Rhythm of Light is coming through to challenge. Winter's Night is between these, heading towards the line. The blue is Rhythm of Light, the far side, Dubai Queen, the yellow jacket, the near side, it is Rhythm of Light and Richard Kingscote are a left clear and win. Dubai Queen in second.
I imagine your first Royal Ascot winner is, at the moment, a very special moment for you.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, look, every winner's great in it, but this is where you sort of want to be in it. It's brilliant.
It really was quite special. It's about having that, genuine sort of emotional feel when a horse wins a race. It's, that's what's special about this, and that's why we're doing it. It's not just another job. We're a young establishment, it's only our 2nd year, and to go to Royal Ascot and have 2 winners, 3-year-olds in very good races, both of whom won extremely well, that was amazing, and it's sort of, that's how I wanted to be year in, year out. And I felt that with Royal Ascot we did sort of show the world that this place does actually work. Anyone can have 1 winner, but to have 2 winners, that win in very good style, in decent races, well, that's a sign, perhaps of things to come.
That's Cuban quality. He's probably the slowest of the 3. Gary Neville picked the names for some reason, you'll have that.
When they go racing for the day, they get their beds turned up, the whole box gets disinfected, and then it'll all be put down later with feed and hay and water and sugar.
The yard is still young and building on its foundations, so when future prospective buyers wish to see where their money will be going, both Tom and Michael are only too willing to give them a guided tour.
He cost 60,000,
Yeah.
but we knew he had ability. Now, obviously, as he's run for 2 or 3 years, he's got problems, he's got issues, bad feet, bad knees, but he's got ability. And actually, he went from being a decent handicapper to being a group horse, and now another year on, he's struggling again. But really, it's cost you 60 grand to have a bloody good year's racing.
You have to have some older horses as well to fly the flag in some of the big sprints and Royal Ascot and things, so we decided to buy a few older horses, and that's what we wanted in our first year, to get us up and running, to give us exposure. And he's just short of top class, but he is top class.
What about if I had a client, let's just say, who was launching a product, something that's going to be significant. You got a horse and he wanted to come up to you and say, 5 races, call it after the product, just helps my promotion. That's something you consider?
Yeah. My football boots are Umbro. That was a favour to my sponsor when I first had a horse. They were called Umbro Speciales. So I called my second horse Speciale. So, you know, there was a nice storyline, my sponsor, Speciale. And now, in fact, I've got a pair of boots in my car. Now all my boots on the sole have got a picture of my horse, Speciale. Okay. You could call your horse Probus.
There are good reasons for these businessmen to be here. Horse racing is in itself a glamorous sport to be associated with, and Michael Owen's name also carries weight. But furthermore, there is the reputation of Tom Dascombe, who is known for training successful racehorses without financially ruining their owners at sales.
Going to the sales and buying horses has, for me, it's changed massively, because up till 2-3 years ago I used to do it all myself. But then when those 2 horses won the July Stakes and Superlative Stakes, I found that we just got such a massive influx of horses. I needed somebody to go to the sales and look at animals for me, because I didn't have the time. I've always used Ed Sackville from Sackville Donald, and he's done a fantastic job for us. Now I probably look at less horses, because time doesn't afford you to do that, which is why Ed is very helpful. But I mean, often I'll go to the sales and, having not seen a horse, just like it walking around the ring and buy it, and that can go one of either way, but sometimes it works out really well.
He was a heavy horse, and when he walked, he was very heavy on himself. Really, so hit the ground hard. Very plain, and just didn't look like a racehorse.
We start it very simply. Ed looks at all the horses and gives me a list, and then if there's a horse on them that he hasn't given me, I can ask him about it, and I trust his judgment, so I don't need to go and look at it myself. But I mean, ultimately, we're just looking for horses that look like they can run.
They'll make a fortune, won't it?
I don't know. King Mambo's now, although he was very good standing in his day, he's sort of now, you know, not quite so commercial and popular. I mean, he's retired.
But I just think he's going to make 200,000.
I know, but the market yesterday, the amount of horses which were bought back.
Okay.
Should we get him betted?
Well, yeah, if you think it's worthwhile.
I think it's important that when you're working with somebody, they know what it is you're looking for, and what it is you want, because if they show you a bunch of horses that you're not, you know, just don't interest you, then you're not going to have a very successful, you know, relationship.
Our relationship, I think, is going to be obviously very much based on trust, you know. I know how he works and he knows how I work, and we have a good working relationship together. Since Tom's been at Manor House, I think his attitude to buying horses is still very much the same. He's always been very firm on budget, Tom, you know. Before each horse goes into the ring, we discuss a budget, and it's, I think, very, very, very rare that I've ever seen Tom go over budget.
The most important thing when you're at the sales is budget. If you can't afford it, it doesn't matter how nice the horse is. I mean, a lot of the obvious horses are the really well-bred, good-looking ones. You can have a look at it and say, I think that'll be good, but if you've got no realistic chance of buying it, you're sort of wasting your time looking at it, really. Well, obviously what we're trying to do is find horses that we can afford but we like. So we try and buy a horse that we think looks like a racehorse. Now that sounds really obvious, doesn't it? But something that just looks athletic and probably walks quite well. And something that looks like it's going to make a 2-year-old, but might train on as well. It's a £50,000 range, which is what we're generally looking at, 30 to 50,000. You can't afford to buy a pedigree for that, so we're looking at the animal itself. We invite owners to come to the sales. We invite them to choose their horse, pick out the one that they like off our list. A lot of the horses that when we buy at the sales, actually there's an owner that might ring or is there and says, I'll take that horse. Jump quick. He wasn't that quick, was he? He was 5 lengths last, wasn't he? Okay, well up. Michael Owen and Andrew Black also give me a budget to spend on horses that we don't have an owner for. And so we buy those, we bring them home, we stick them on the website, and we invite people to come and have a look at the horses and see if they like them, and if they do, then they can purchase them off us. Vital Equine, Dalakani, Lord Ali McJones, Brockwell.
To get involved as an owner at Manor House does not necessarily mean a large outlay. It's quite possible to buy a horse in partnership with other prospective owners, even with the boss himself.
I've probably got about 8 of my flat horses at Manor House that I own fully. Then I've got 5 or 6 that I own with my partner, Andrew Black. And then there's a couple, you know, the Man United team, I've 3 horses, so there's 8 of us, so I own sort of an 1/8 of 3 horses there, and I own a leg of a horse here and there. So, so basically I own about 8 on my own, maybe half a dozen in partnership, and then, maybe another 2 or 3 just in little fractions here. So there's probably, 50, 60 horses here that I've got nothing to do with.
Take a turn. Jog them down a minute. Jagged, Smithy, and you two are going to come back round to the mile.
We're not elitist, and I think we have an awful lot of owners from an awful lot of different walks of life. I think we want to be the sort of place that encourages that. I like to think anyone can come here and have a horse here and not feel out of place, and not feel that this is a sort of an intimidating or elitist establishment. And as far as I'm concerned, they're all just owners to me. And I'd like to get on with them, have good relationships with them, and try and give them a good experience of racing as a whole.
This is the Aussie Rules and Spring Daisy. Spring Daisy this side, Aussie Rules far side, and then behind we've got Winter Hill, the far side of Gin Twist this side.
I got involved with one of my partners at work. It was my first ever go into racing, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it since I've been in. And what's been interesting is just getting an interest in horse racing. I mean, I live quite close to the stables here, so I can get over very easily, and it's quite fun to come along on a morning and see the horses working out. And Tom's very open at talking about the training and which horses he believes are doing well, and again that creates the interest for me that I can follow other horses in the stables.
I think this is Pyman's Theory, this side, coming up with full pelt, a 3-year-old gelding. She's a very nice filly.
Yeah.
She just didn't quite get home on the ground at Ascot. But I mean, she won a maiden, she won a listed race.
I think it's the whole package, really. When you see them training and you see them in the stables, you get a feeling for the horses, and then when you actually see them racing, whether that's live or on television, that just becomes something you have an association with, and that's very interesting.
When Tom has a bit of free time, he's only too happy and proud to give the owners a taste of things to come at Manor House, like the soon-to-open swimming pool and medical centre.
We'll swim everything, so everything is capable of swimming. And then if they get an injury, if they have a back problem, a sore mouth, sore shins in 2-year-olds, I mean, that will be the most common thing, really. And then we can keep them fit. So it should enable us to get horses back from injuries much sooner. But also, just, you know, the ones that come in late in the season that have been out at grass and they're fat, you'll be able to gallop them in the morning, swim them in the afternoon, and get them there quicker. So although it will cost money, it should